Chukli is a young artist. She's not long graduated from the MFA at Goldsmiths, and I came across her work only about a year ago, since when I think she's on a very fast trajectory. And she's just had a show up at Transmissions Gallery in Glasgow, and she has another one opening in London at a new commercial gallery that I've forgotten the name of, but Chukli will, I'm sure, tell you about that. So she's not an experienced public speaker, but her work is, I think her work is fantastic. So so please give her a very good hearing. Thank you. Chukli.
Hello everyone. My name is Chukli Tan, and I work with installations, sculpture, performances and text. I use all kinds of materials. I have performed in my work. I have used water, magnets, and I have worked in different locations. In a park in London, in some mesmerizing landscapes in Iceland. And I will show you this. So what does it mean for us to exist in space? It's a question I've asked myself a lot. And we exist in this very large universe, or I may say multiverse. And I was wondering how I could express the idea of something gigantic within which we exist. This video installation is called Silence is Cosmos, and the Earth is its music. I have projected a single video onto 9 spheres, and I have tried to recreate the texture of the moon. I'm going to show you some images so it looks clearer to you how it looks in the space. Good. The spheres are hung from the ceiling with some metal rods. So, how to express a sense of the infinite? It was kind of, to me, at the time, it was difficult to recreate such sensation within the confine of a studio space. So I have gone to Iceland, where I have lived for 2 years and made a series of videos in which I interact with the landscape. So I was wondering how to express a sensation of something bigger within a terrestrial environment. So I went looking for locations that give the sense of the infinite, and I thought that the entropic landscape of Iceland would help me to express this. This video is called Hill Falling Experiment or Nonsense. This video is called How Constant Are the Physical Constants? So again, I went looking for locations that would extend towards the infinite. Back within the confine of being in Endure. So I have experienced physically myself performing in my work sensation of existing within space and how phenomena act upon us, and continued with materials afterwards. This sculpture is called Problems, and it's freestanding with a metal rod. And it's called Problems because there are a lot of unresolved problems with only a few possible answers, A, B, C, D. I was interested in the dedication of researchers to try and find out. But as we live in an anthropic environment, information keep changing, so they will forever come across problems. So. And this sculpture was shown at the library of the Royal Society of Science, next to the bust of Darwin on the right.
changing. But if there are no external forces on the system, momentum is always conserved. And this is what I can show you. That is well within the uncertainties. Within the uncertainties of the measurements. There is always an uncertainty in any measurement that you see that it's really related to the situation of momentum. I'm going to explain to you now what we physicists mean by center force. It means in any situations that the center of mass behaves kinetic energy. Sometimes a little, as you see there, sometimes a lot, as you see there. Sometimes everything. So this is, as you see, another.
This video is called Yokul, a friend and momentum. This video is called, that one, no, it's called the 3 questions. I have once given a lecture about an eminent thinker, scientist, feminist called Walter Joseph Steinarsson, because he died just before, and I wanted to give an homage to him because he was a very important person. He has made this instrument called the IMLI device, IMLI, which stands for an instrument to measure the level of idiocy. And this is the device here, which I brought with me. And so I spoke about Walter Joseph Steinarsson, and I've invited people to answer a question, which was, what does quantum mechanics mean? Because I may read a lot of theoretical physics, but I just can't understand it, never. So, well, it kind of left the audience speechless for a moment, but as it was a festive event for Walter Joseph Steinarsson, there were people who were a bit tipsy and more comfortable. So this person came next to me and explained what quantum mechanics means to her. And then somebody else. During the event, I've shown an excerpt from a documentary called Maybe Logic. It's a documentary about Robert Anton Wilson, a thinker, obscure, but quite an eccentric character. But in this excerpt which I've shown, he is interviewed by a German presenter. She challenges him to explain quantum mechanics simply, and again he remains speechless for a moment, and then continues and relate quantum mechanics to the borderlines that separate the state of America. So the lines that we maybe create to, I guess, to find ourselves in the world. So I've done this performance in London and here, now it's in a gallery in Berlin. I've invited somebody to try the device, the Imlay device, and to spot idiots in the audience. But we kind of kept it secret between her and I. And then I invited everybody to party and celebrate Walter Joseph Stenerson. This work is called "The World is Everything That Is the Case," and this sentence begins Wittgenstein's book called Tractatus Logicus. On one side, there are two pieces of magnets which hold the sculpture. On the other side is a bottle which for real has water in it, but I've put a kind of a plastic bit here which stays in place because of some physics going on. I wouldn't be able to explain it, but there's a way to do it which makes it stays. Yeah, I don't know what's the physics term for that. So that gives this, and so it's kind of also freestanding and. Here is another performance which I have made. How to explain this? There were an audience, and there were me. I was interacting with the space, with different objects, which you see there. And there were a video camera here, turned upside down, filming me and a monitor, which creates this fractal of videos in limbo. And at some point I go to the audience and I ask them to pick a quote from a book, and somebody does, and I try to write the quote I try to write the quote in a way that it appears the right way around here, but not in reality, if that makes sense. It's a difficult setup. I hope that makes sense. And it was difficult. I did not manage to write the quote. I don't know if it was the right way around, but yeah. Here is a performance with two physicists, Benjamin Brown and Peter Lewis. They are two PhD students at Imperial College. They are both researching on the quantum foundation. And part of my course back then, when I was doing my Master of Fine Art at Goldsmiths, we were asked to do a curatorial project, and I decided to do an event. So I picked a selection of artworks from my peers, some works that more or less were related to physics or that were antagonist to physics. And I gave a tour. No, they gave a tour to the visitors. around each artworks, and what they had to do was to talk about the physics behind the work, but it wasn't always simple. Here I think we can, there's maybe turbulence. So that wasn't enough to just throw all those physical terms. We needed to have something to write diagrams and explain. Here's Benjamin Brown explain how a spray can works, because in the previous image you see that it's made with spray paint. Here there are some physics going on, which they have explained. It's an artwork by Vera Cox. We were on a balcony at Goldsmiths back then, and there were an artwork that was on the floor below. And it was really nice to see it from above, I thought. So this is one of many of the interactions I had with physicists, essentially in physicists from Imperial College. But it appears that throughout my research, I have to get in touch with experts. I was going to say physicists, but experts in their field. And it is the case in the next work. It's 4 pages pinned down on the wall. The page on the left shows an Hubblian structure. And the next pages shows a dialogue between 2 people. I'm going to show you, and you can read. Are you at the end? Should I show the next page? Okay. So the answer of Matthias to Lucy. As you see, it's set in 2165 in the future. Have you read? So now I'm going to explain how this has happened. I once bumped into a Gaussian curve that you see sometimes. It's like those graphics, which I wouldn't be able to explain, but you can ask a physicist among the audience later about it. And I thought it was a striking image which I thought I could use for eventually maybe one of my video collage, something else in the future. But I had to speak to the owner of this image before to avoid copyright problems. And I've done some research, and the image was on the MATLAB Central website, which is a forum for mathematicians and physicists to discuss. And I got in touch with the person who posted the Gaussian curves. And the questions that I asked in the first email, well, basically the question that are in this emails. I've actually asked them for real in 2011, in fact, last year, to this physicist who responded to me, and this answer to Lucy also actually happened. So I've changed the name. I've changed the name of the physicist to Matthias. Shockley is not Shockley. It's Lucy in this work, and I've changed the time. It's in 2165. So the kind of dialogue I have with researchers and physicists are sometimes very rich in content and produce some materials for me to produce artwork. This work is called Inverted Bottle. Okay. So there's a metal rod sticking out of the wall, and the reason why it stays together, it's again because of the use of two magnets here. This work, I wanted to create an impossible scenario at first glance, but part of the exploration of the audience, I hoped, was to maybe get surprised at first glance, but if you give it a chance, you get closer, you see that it actually happens because of true physics. And this is relevant to a lot of sculptural work I have made. This work is called Kometen Melodie. It's in German, the title, which it means the melody of the comet. In this work, I was interested in referring to colors, dispersion. Yeah. So if I get closer, you see that the yarns used are. It's very I make some very delicate artworks. So it's maybe we need to get closer sometimes to see what's going on. So this different colored yarns, and it's set in a way that the components within this work depends on each other to the survival of the whole installation. I was trying to make a kind of a system or a structure of codependent materials. Okay. I'm gonna skip some work. Okay, I should do more work. Oh, voilà. This work is called, it's a difficult title. This work is called The Conditions Were There at the Right Moment out of any moments of the universe's lifespan. So I was doing the same here, really. I was trying to show the fragility and the strength of the materials within a structure of codependent matters. So in the middle, there's a tracing paper barely held by clips, and then the magnetic tape of the VHS tape can actually support the weight of a whole bottle of wine, and this stays in place because of the phenomena of friction. Right. I'm going to show you an excerpt of a video called New Materials in the Reading of the World. Which has been founded in London, which you neutron drawing without turbulence. Oubli is not some pretext to bolster up the pride of a few neo-thinkers as our enemies would have the world believe. Oubli is a state. You are an oubliiste or you aren't, out of uncertainties. To be an oubliiste means being thrown with angular momentum by events, being against matter that settles to the bottom of the abyss. But it also means putting your life in a vacuum. One says yes to an existence that seeks to go by negation. In New Materials in the Reading of the World, I have juxtaposed a Dada Manifesto and some astrophysics article unpublished together, and I've made my own edit, and I've consulted with my friend Peter Lewis from Imperial College to see if my edit was right, because I've kind of added some physical terms to bring this kind of futuristic edge. Likewise, in science fiction movies, referring to a physics lexicon bring this level of futurity, and also to give this sense of the infinite, and to invite people to look at things on a bigger scale. So I refer to cosmos and yes. What was I? And well, consulting with Peter Lewis from Imperial College, I've asked him if some of the physics-related terms that I've used were accurate. If, for instance, I talk about vacuum or momentum, and I say such things, but like, is it right, Peter? He said, yeah, that's right. That's right. Oh, this is not accurate. That doesn't work. This is not a physics phenomenon. I don't know where you get that from, extra. And okay, so this term right, but that actually it's call it x plus b extra. And then this is okay, this is wrong. And then I'm like, oh, I leave it that way then, because I mean, for me to use some aspects of physics helps me to refer to it, to celebrate the phenomena that exist around us, but also if I go against phenomena, to bring a level of surreality. Yes. And I guess that's it, because we're running out of time.
If there are one or two questions for Chukli, and maybe if Guess What would like to come and set up while we're taking any questions. Oh, yes.
Chukli, what do you think you'll be doing in 2 years' time?
In 2 years' time, I'll be going back to Iceland again, to visit friends and get together some more footage materials. Probably do that even before. I am hoping to, yes, continue producing work and to show the work to the public, and hopefully not just the art-related crowd. I want more people to see the work I do, and hopefully I won't be as broke as I am now, so I'll be spending more time in my studio rather than trying and make money. And I'll be struggling less to give talk. Thank you.
Yeah, the one at the back.
I just wanted to ask, how important is the failure of science and scientists to your work?
I think what is interesting for me to look into there's disciplines of science, or if I can be more specific into physics, is that you have a lot of people dedicated to do research, and they try and find out, and they seem to come up with facts sometimes. And then again, like I said earlier, we live in this entropic environment, which means that things continue colliding and clashing out of chaos or order, and data information keeps changing. So eventually, maybe what has been found before clash with the new researches. It's kind of the case with the Large Hadron Collider, for instance. There's a huge investment put towards that, with looking into particles, etc., and money, and etc., and there's a big buzz around it. But people who work on the Large Hadron Collider, they also admit that maybe we've done all this, but maybe it's going to be a failure, but at least we've done it, and we've tried, and I think the experience of working on it, they will encounter accidents and incidences which will bring maybe new directions away from the Large Hadron Collider, but there's something else which we have yet to comprehend, I think.
Thank you. We can thank Juk Lee very much.